At all, I think that it came a brotherly situation to where we both said, "Hey, together we can do this." And from being in that other situation, I think when people saw the band live, they started to say, "Hey, I know a lot of people said to me, 'Hey, this guy's really great,' and he heard, hey, this guy's, pretty good."
I mean, you get a vibe, and again, when you talk to the kids and when you get feedback.
Even then, we got the feedback, and we just said, "Hey, let's do this together."
You know what we used to do during the, yeah, this is terrible, but it's the God's honest truth. We would play a show, and we would play a 1-hour show, and during the 1-hour show for 25 minutes, often we'd limit it to 20, but from 20 to 25 minutes, there would be an a cappella guitar solo, which was basically a masturbational form of exercises that a child would do in his bedroom when he was learning to play. And we would shake people's hands, thanking them for coming.
We stand out in front of the door.
We were like the maitre d's.
Thank you.
See you again. Instead of seating you, we would thank them for coming and notice them
as they're leaving.
Out. And then the back half of the show, which was the next 3 songs before we were through, we'd play to a quarter of the people that were originally there. And there was it was ridiculous. I mean, so we did that together, and it was like, we knew that they were also leaving on us. It wasn't only because we were up there as well. But, we tried to make light and humor of it. And
you just have to have a good time. Even through tough times, you have to look at things in a light way and just think positively. You just can't let things get to you. You have to just go for it and just have a good time. Enjoy life to the fullest.
We paid our dues by playing underneath another guy that promised us that we would have a band or be in a band, and inevitably it turned into a one-man sideshow.
So we tried to create a band that is all for one and one for all situation. And everybody just has a good time instead of inattention all the time.
MTV hated Slaughter. When we first brought Up All Night out, they made us edit that very phone number up there out of the video.
And made us edit out.
They called that phone number is what happened. It was in the video. They aired it a couple times, and they called it. And the number said, "Hey, you've reached the Slaughter hotline. We're going to be on tour here and here. And if you want to see our video, call MTV." They thought that was like advertising. But every band in America does things like that and says, if you believe in us, say something. And every band around the world does
anywhere
that.
Around the world.
Whether you're the Scorpions or Judas Priest or Ozzy Osbourne or anybody else, every band around the world says, hey, if you like what you heard, tell a friend. Tell somebody. Bring your bro to the club. Bring your girlfriend to the club. Let them see the arena show, whatever the case may be.
We've sold 1.5 million records there, and we're still selling there. But to us, we had to leave playing on tour with Kiss, which was doing very well financially for us, to go and end that situation and come here. But it was very important for us to come here and to prove ourselves as a legitimate rock band.
If you're going to be, I think, a band with any staying power, and there's been recently a few U.S. bands that have had really limited staying power. They sold well, and it was never heard from again. There was a band that recently played here at Wembley with Skid Row and Motley Crue that all of a sudden was never heard from again. And we kind of looked at it and we said, listen, all the bands we liked, Queen, the Beatles, AC/DC, Priest, Scorpions, they are international bands that have done the same thing that we will have to do if we decide to do this, which is go in debt, make money in one area, fall apart financially in another area, start on the ground, go from playing 12,000-seat halls when you've built success to a 700-person club. But you know what's funny? The excitement of selling this out on your own is just the same as 12,000 seats where you're responsible for 4. Okay? And for us, we wanted to be an internationally recognized band and expose our music to people. Like, I just met somebody from Italy. There were 3 people that we met in Germany. Well, it sounds funny, there were 3 people, but those 3 people tell 3 people that tell 3 people, and it turns into 300, which turns into 3,000, which turns into 30,000. And if you're too big to pay attention to that, I think you're probably in the wrong business,
Absolutely.
Coming to Europe, we're going to be here in like 10 days. Coming to Europe was like a college education in itself, because you learn about society and you learn about life and you learn about why the rebellious movements happened, and you learn about how hard it is for rock to succeed here and why, and you start to understand, okay, well that's how they do it, huh?
Oh, you understand, cool. You also understand that the rock and roll basically has always had the opposition to where people try to weed it out, especially in the 70s when the disco era came in and all the dances started happening. It's the same thing is happening today.
I don't care if it's Iron Maiden, Scorpions, Slaughter, or anybody else. Buy rock. Listen to rock. Because dance music and urban rap music, which isn't as popular in the U.S. as people like to pretend it is, can certainly do a lot of damage to what is music that's been here a long time, which is rock. it was an unusual time. I was out of high school. There was a very strong LA club scene happening where you could go out on any given night and see Eddie Van Halen. You could see Carlos Cavazo. You could see this guy named Randy Rhoads. It was just one of many guys that you could see. George Lynch, another guy that you could just any day of the week go out to a club and happen to see. And not even a club like the Marquee, just a dump, you know. And Marquee is like a known thing in the world. I'm talking like a top 40 bar. Vince Neil was playing with a band called Rock Candy. Nikki Sixx and Mick Mars were playing with a band called London. It was, you could see anything and everybody out of that circle totally happened. Randy Rhoads, to me, was an exception to all the rules. He was just a phenomenal talent, and Ozzy came over and saw me in my local band that was just out of high school, and came in with a cigarette pack rolled up and his hair looking worse than ours does now, and he told me, let's go be a band, but he didn't have a band. So I'm not exactly short for words, and I told him I thought I knew the guy. Gary Moore was the guitar player at that time. He was a phenomenal talent. I mean, a lot of people don't know any of that because it was all so early, but it kind of all came to place, and I don't know, I'm lucky that I was part of that.